So this kind of taught me that like I don't want to just build models. I want to tell a story with a model. Yeah, it is art. I agree 100%. A lot of people call this a hobby. I don't see why more people don't call it an art. I think the only difference is this is what I'm working on right now. Trying to get basically this one to look like this one. Basically, it's a diorama, a Y-wing in this junkyard. And the scene is going to be a bunch of figures making a pod racer like from episode 1 Star Wars. And so these engines are going to be the engines for the pod racer. Fine paintwork. Thanks, Katie. Make realistic rust effects to make it. Heck yeah. Appreciate that. I'm actually doing a giveaway right now. Once I reach 100 subs, I'm going to be giving away a Spitfire model kit. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate that. All you got to do is go to that video on my channel, the 100 subscriber free kit giveaway, and leave a comment, and you're entered. How long does it take? Maybe 100 hours. This is another one that I made. This was a smaller one. I don't know, the lighting's not so good. There we go. That's better. It was probably about 50 to 60 hours. A couple weeks of, 2 hours, 3 hours a night or so. This one I built for a competition. This one probably took a couple 100 hours. This one is actually a plane that won a trophy, won second place in a competition. But same thing, it's like it's a plane model, but at the same time it tells a story because it has a bunch of damage in it. Dude's having a bad day. Give an example of how far I've come. This is one that I did when I was 16. I like to build stuff like this, make little stories out of them, and enter them into competitions. That was pretty cool. So I just like doing it. It's very relaxing. It's very calming. It gets me stoked on actually just like creating stuff. Is it for a competition or just for fun? I ask myself that same question a lot. I would say at first it was just for fun, and then I kind of just like, what the heck, I'll put them in a competition. This one won third place, and so that got me excited on doing it actually for competitions. But I will say that like that expectation can take the fun out of it. Like, hey, I'm building a competition piece or whatever. So I'm still just doing it for fun. But, if they happen to win a competition, that's even more fun. Yeah, it is art. I agree 100%. A lot of people call this a hobby, but I don't see why more people don't call it an art. I think the only difference is that like a lot of the pieces for stuff like this they're like manufactured, so you kind of like just paint inside the lines, and so it's not like completely from your own head. It's art. It's an expression of creativity, especially with dioramas. And telling the story through it, not just building it and assembling it and gluing it together. It tells a story, and I believe it's art as well. Did you use an airbrush to paint the soldiers on the diorama? I did not use an airbrush. I did not use an airbrush on the soldiers themselves, but I did on the base. The soldiers are a little bit too fine of detail to use airbrush on. My profession, I'm actually a therapist. I'm an associate therapist. I work in a substance abuse treatment center. We're helping people get sober, helping people get their mental health right. Well, Elijah, I'll say happy birthday. If you want a birthday gift, you can enter the giveaway. You should go to the VA and help us. I do have just at my center that I work at, I have worked with plenty of usually really no active duty, but couple Rangers, police officers. It's really cool to see them get better, and a lot of them do. But yeah, it's coming along pretty nicely. I have 2 of the rust colors on there. I'm going to do a couple more, kind of make all of this appear random and uniform at the same time. The more rewarding things about my profession is to see people get better, although we don't always get to see that happen. It's supposed to be the Y-Wing's engine, right? And then it has this barrel welded onto it, and it's supposed to be somewhat of an air intake situation. not in the military, just civil aviation. What kind of planes do you fly? And why are so many of them crashing these days, for gosh sakes? The military, 737 at the moment. That's a cool plane, man. Started on private jets when I was younger. I've always wanted to fly a plane. My grandpa had a little Cessna before I was born, and I always thought that was the coolest thing, to fly a plane. And I think honestly that's part of why I like to do these models. It's like I'm into cars. You can see my Mustang behind me. I can have a car and to work on and stuff, but it's kind of a little bit above my pay range to have a helicopter or a plane or whatever and do that. I just messed this up pretty bad. I got a big old smudge on here. Yeah, absolutely. Just keep that plane in the air, man. Just keep that plane in the air. Start with dark rust, the darkest color first. And then red leather, which is like pretty close to another rust color, like a lighter rust. And then I think I'm going to go to a wood color. I think that's what I did on the other one. I'm going to go to the metal color. So in very specific places, it's really difficult to see, but bare metal peeking through where the rust went all the way through the paint. You're hypnotized by watching. That is the cool thing about watching like modeling content, is it's somewhat satisfying just to see a transformation, or it can be very satisfying to see a transformation take place, like step by step, right in front of your eyes, where you're doing a manual task like this and you got to be focused on it, that your head just kind of chills out. And the metal color should just go on the edges of stuff right here. There's just a faintest hint of metal color. Did I start doing that? I started doing it when I was 16. I was doing a lot of cars when I was 16 because I loved cars, but I couldn't really, I guess like 12 to 16. Obviously I couldn't drive yet, but then got my first girlfriend, got my first car, had other things on my mind. But this last November, I wasn't interested in it. And on my way back from the honeymoon, I was like, it'd be really nice to pick up modeling again. It's a lot different now. There's a lot more resources out there with YouTube and a lot more companies that make stuff to really help you make good models. So I just got back into it really hard. I've been going hard at it. A lot of stuff to build. When did I start doing that? Feels good. Is it a Bandai kit? I have 2 of them. Trying to find the Millennium Falcon now. Not easy to find here. And really? That's too bad. I'm like always jealous of, it is a Bandai kit. I'm always jealous of the modeling scene in Europe, or I guess I would say the UK, because it seems like that's where a lot of hobby shops are. And you guys got Airfix over there and everything. I don't know if by Europe you mean West Europe or what, but I have a little Millennium Falcon here that I turned into a shadow box display. We see it? Yeah, you can see it. The LED lights up, the engine out. This is actually one of the full build videos that I completed first. Put it up, I think, last week. Going to be like the mainstay of the channel. Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm pretty impressed with how it turned out. I just got to figure out where to mount it, and it's, so you can see the detail a little bit better. The reflection is kind of hard. But yeah, that's like the really small scale one. There's the big ones, like the perfect scale one. I forget what, I think it's 1/72 scale, like this Y-Wing. But those are monster models, man. And that's, I don't know how many pieces that is. That would be cool to get my hands on. But it's pretty expensive, and that's just a big project. I like the projects where they're fairly small, like this one, because like you can kind of see it progressing fast. And it's like, if I have to sit there, like even on this Y-Wing, there's so many little pipes and tubes, like especially if you look at this piece, to glue in there, that it's just like, I don't want to be doing this for 5 hours, just gluing little plastic tubes and sanding the edges on them. I want to be painting it. I want it to come to life, And this is actually an old airbrush needle that was bent. There's a slight bend in it that I'm using to put the metal paint on, just because it's very finely tipped. With military naval 1/44 scale, I still have them in the house. For a ship, that's big. I think I have a couple 1/700 scale, a couple ships from Tamiya. I started one, and I was just like, this is too small. This is too small. I like 1/48 scale for planes, and I like 1/35 scale for most of all for armor. And he's a badass 3D printed figure. I started painting this one. Oh, 1/700th. Okay. Yeah, those are tiny, man. Those are super tiny, but it's cool because they're cheap, and you can make some pretty cool little displays for them. It is 1/10 scale. So if you guys don't know what all that means, it basically means like he's a 10th of the size. So if you bigger scale is just like harder, like you think it would be easier, the parts would be less small, easier to paint. But really, once you go up in scale, it seems like there's just a lot more detail, and so it's actually more difficult to work on something that's even larger scale. I'll change to Star Wars as well. I have a few X-Wings and ATs. Described earlier, yeah, super interested to watch and talk in this community. Yeah, modeling and stuff like this kind of gets kind of a lonely activity, art, hobby, whatever you want to call it. I like to call it an art, like we talked about earlier. So yeah, it is nice to have a little bit of community. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start this channel, because that first show and competition I went to, in California, there's just not that many hobby shops anymore, nor competitions or anything like that. Just kind of wanted to be a resource, or I don't know, a representative of the hobby, the art in California. Do I sell any of my work? I'm sure one day I will. I'm kind of afraid that that'll create kind of a pressure. It's difficult to put a value on it, just put a sell it price on it. For this one, offered me over $50 for it, so I would probably let it go for that much. For right now, I would say I would just want to keep it for content. This is one I'll probably keep forever, but this is kind of where I'm going to make a whole video about how this build went. I can't really do a full build video on it because it's already done, but I have progress pictures. But this one is what kind of gave me the answer of why do I like to do this so much. And this one just came together so well, and I was so proud of it. It has so many little elements to it, and it tells a story. You look at it, and for me, my eyes are immediately drawn to the people, and the people in the center, right? And the dude sitting on the ground is holding a map. He's the commander of the tank. And then if you know your World War II military stuff a little bit, then you know that the guys in the green right next to him, those are Army Scouts. You're just like, okay, they're talking about something. The dude's on the radio. He's pointing to something at the map. They're talking about something important. Whether they're going to go somewhere next or they're trying to figure out where the enemy is, I don't know. But so you start drinking in the details and you look in the background, you got the tank mechanic working on the tracks over here, and you have his little tools right here on a little blanket, showing that like he has a personality. He actually, he's not going to just throw his tools in the dirt. He cares about the tank. He cares about the tank running well for his crew. And even while all the important stuff is going on with the commander and the scouts, he knows his job, and so he's dedicated to fixing that tank. The whole crew is working on resupplying. You have this pile of stock over here. The gun is dismounted, probably for cleaning. And then these two guys up here are reloading the ammo boxes in the tank for the 50 cal. So yeah, so this kind of taught me that like I don't want to just build models. I want to tell a story with a model or a diorama. I'll probably never let go of this one. I want to keep this one forever. Kind of like blending my profession with this, where I just like have, me working on something in the background and me talking about something psychology related or modeling / psychology related over it. And I think it's about 4 minutes long, and it just shows me doing the groundwork. Super mesmerizing to watch that one. Really cool techniques and tips in there. A lot of basic stuff. I'm still not like super pro at this, but just a few things that I haven't heard anybody else talk about before on model videos. 1 a.m. in Europe, going to sleep as well, but definitely coming back to watch your work, man. Love the project and would love to support it. Thanks, dude. I really appreciate that. Yeah, if you're up at 1 right now, yeah, go ahead and get some sleep, dude. You don't want to. Tomorrow you will thank you if you go to bed now. I don't know how well you can see that, but you see the parts where it's a little bit more streaked, as if like rain was falling on it from this direction, and then it just didn't dry, and then it rusted the metal as it was drying. So yeah, you can look pretty good right there. So yeah, I'm gonna do some streaks on that, and then I'm gonna go over it with this is a Vallejo mud wash, and so it's just like a really thin mud colored paint, or dust colored paint, I guess you would say. But probably for the streaking part, I'll need to concentrate a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and log off.